that the purpose for this action is for things to flow the way water flows, uh, for peace to prevail, for life to be sustained, for love to come about, and all these things that bind humans together. It is as if the intrinsic goodness seen in every human being arriving in this dimension is constantly in clash with a dispensation that looks like it is there to challenge us to our plate, to rise to our plate. Meanwhile, another dispensation, see, and who knows if that one is not in league with the one that challenges us. It wants us to understand that everything has been set in place before we arrive here to make us comfortable, and that we should be more thinking in terms of what we should shop and acquire, collect, and itemize that we can take, because those things are subject to the apprehension of our five senses. They can be seen, they can be shown. This is what I got when I went to Africa. You know, a little mask. You know how cute it looks. So that means eventually that I was there. So no one can say that I didn't. The part that really worked well do not want to be paraded in this fashion. They want to be part of the chemistry of your own transformation. They want to contribute to an elevation that you promised yourself perhaps so long ago that you forgot. Hey, this is where you're gonna get to. And in the end, something happened. Either harmonizing things, or at least you settle at some point. You level up, and you try to move on from there. Just know that the medicine that affects us when we come to the place of the human origin never ceases to affect us. It will always be doing what it is doing, regardless of whether there is an intermediary or not. The very bathing into the frequencies of the place does that. It does it in such a way that it challenges our mind and our imagination to wrap itself around. I've been in that place for as long as I can remember. And I know that it is not a kind of thing that comes to a place where we feel satisfied, everything is settled, everything is now moving smoothly. No, it's a lifetime thing. It's an ongoing thing. This is why the higher you rise, the more you become aware of the adversity that surrounds you. Because anyone is like a light. The brighter you shine, the more likely your visibility translates into a level of hostility, or call it challenge, that matches the brightness of your vibration. That's what it is. And so being aware of that makes it possible. Makes it possible for you to know that sometimes when all hell breaks loose, that's because you're doing something right. And the opposite also applies. And when everything seems to be smooth and working fine, you're going to hell. So make sure you don't get there surprised. So every time I come to this part of the world, that's what happens. You know, because of the unusualness of it all. You know, I discovered that so many subspace projectiles had been placed in my body. Thing that adversity has shot right into me, unbeknown to me. And I was carrying that, thinking that, being alive is enough. But what about being loaded with things in there that don't belong there? Yeah. And that's what this lady shaman discovered and gave me this medicine to bathe myself so that they can melt themselves out of the body. The phenomenology of this whole thing is hard to capture in English because the language itself was not designed to capture realities of this nature. Part of that in your bone. There's things that happen. You just have to give them an English name or label simply because there isn't an alternative. This subspace phenomena, indigenous technology, uh, supernatural events happening right and left around us have never been cataloged by modernity as a way of helping individual understand that all of that are part of being human in this dimension. You know, we're being left uh, as human who must abide by some kind of scientific progress that is following a particular ideology and so on and so forth. And so stepping away from that, we enter into a place that requires its own language. That's where we're at. And so what this calls for is a certain kind of approach that is unusual. Uh, and the easier way to get to that place is not so much to come up with your own imagination in such a way that you can give yourself the break of stress or the break from stress, but to take the cue from the people that you encounter on your way, on the road, in town, in the village, that whenever you say hello to somebody, that person spontaneously stops what they're doing, turn around and say hello. And even when you do not, they try to get your attention that there's a hello that is necessary at this juncture. All of these contain elements in there of such importance that somehow we must try, or at least make an effort to associate that with the kind of transformation, the kind of changes that our very presence here triggers. That's how it is. And so the cue comes from here, not from there. Uh, our presence triggers a specific singularity, you know, something that defines us as, on the one hand, human being having arrived in a place that is new and not new at the same time. But on the other hand, the states in which we are while here produces an anomaly, uh, a kind of anomalistic phenomena that gets the attention of the people who have always been here. Uh, and that's what triggers them to respond to us in this particular fashion. And when they do, they're just pointing or saying hello to the medicine that we are, as if somehow for those of us to whom the going is hard, they're asking us to break out of our shell, out of thinking that having been this far, we are bringing the dispensation over there to this place with the intention to keep it that way, when it, in fact it's not what it should be, etc., because the very presence of our being here is a statement that will come here because we have embraced change. We come here because we subscribe to transformation. We come here also because we have faith in the human nature. We have faith in the human intrinsic goodness. Uh, we may call that healing, spirituality, whatever term is convenient to it. It boils down to an understanding of us as bearer of some intrinsic goodness that is constantly at war with the forces of adversity. That's what we need to pay attention to. That's what we need to be conscious about. And when we do, with or without saying it, it translates in the way in which we carry ourselves, the way we walk, the way we talk, how we can radiate the joy of our humanity back to those who radiate the joy of their humanity toward us, something of that nature. And this is why being here is a blessing. Regardless of the state we are, to better understand it or not, it is what it is. So I'm hoping that these ancestors, as they have promised, will take us back each in our own outpost of duties and responsibilities in a way that is consistent with greater dignity and elegance, beauty and love, powers, and all these things that elevates the human being, and that eventually the world gets better in that way. In the way we cannot measure. But at this juncture, measurement is not the yardstick by which we define the reality of that which we have subscribed ourselves to. And so I wanted to be able to say these few things and encourage each one of us to stay in the frequencies of the positive, to do away with that which resonated inside as anomalies, items of challenge and discomfort, move that out of the way as part of the world dysfunction, basically. That we're not going to be the newscasters about, but that we're going to see those things as a sign that indeed those pieces have noticed some changes inside of us. And that is why they're ganging up to make sure that the ongoing dispensation be kept intact. That's why, to a lot of degree, coming to Africa is a subversive action that you took in defiance to all these things that would have rather you stay there with your daily TV dinner and watching all these shows and so forth, because that's what a good citizen in this in this modern day is supposed to be. And when you decide to put this out of the way to come to this godforsaken place, what you are